In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a 909 techno reverb kick. It's one of those main sounds in techno. It sounds really cool. And yeah, I'll show you step by step exactly how to make it in this tutorial. First of all though, it sounds a little bit like this. And then I also have an automated version with lots of little changes programmed in over time, so the kick drum is evolving in a somewhat natural way. It's a standard thing to do in techno, and again, I'll show you how all this works in the tutorial. Lovely stuff. Let me show you how I created it. First of all, I need to find that original 909 kick drum sound, and there are lots of different ways of doing this, from using sampled instruments, maybe built into your DAW, through to using dedicated specialist plugins like this as an instrument to generate that initial 909. This one is my favourite. It's called Drumazon from the guys at D16, and it synthesizes that 909 in exactly the same way as the real life drum machine, so it sounds incredibly accurate, and not to mention, it's a lot of fun to use. Now, figuring out how this thing works can be a bit of a mission, just like using the real 909 drum machine. When the original techno guys started using 909s, most of them had no real idea how the drum machine worked, but eventually, after playing around with it enough times, you get a bit of a feeling for what at least half the buttons do, so you can kind of make it work for what you want to do. I've pretty much figured out how this works, at least well enough to get that 4 to the floor kick drum happening, so I'll go ahead and set that up. Perfect, now the pattern is configured, I can do all the fine tuning in this section here. Great stuff, it's starting to sound like that 909 techno kick drum, but now I need to make it that reverb kick drum by adding in a reverb. And this is something you pretty much have to do by trial and error, by trying out lots of different reverbs. And I know there's one preset in my favourite reverb plugin called Toroverb that works extremely well for this type of kick drum. And I think the preset is called something like Dark Rooms or Dark Walls. I'll just move that out the way and choose Toroverb. Dark Room, that's it there. Although I do need to ease back on the dry wet. To about there. Mixing the unprocessed signal, which is the dry sound, with the processed signal, i.e. the reverb, the wet sound. And just to demonstrate how important choosing the right preset is to get that exact techno verby kick drum sort of thing, I'll go ahead and flick through a few other presets just to show you what they sound like. The only thing left to do now is record in some variation. So I like to choose two controls such as pitch or decay length. I like to choose, say, two controls, map those to the physical parameters on my MIDI controller, and then I can just record in, say, 16 or 32 bars or even 64 bars. And that will give me a nice, natural, evolving kick drum sound, very typically techno. And there you have it, a nice 909 techno verby kick drum with some lovely little analog variation recorded in too.